Manipulators don't go after everyone. They observe. They choose. And if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling mentally drained, second-guessing yourself, replaying words in your head, while the other person stayed calm, reasonable, and completely unbothered, this message is for you. Because real manipulation doesn't look loud or aggressive. It looks polite. It sounds mature. It feels logical. And that's why it works. It doesn't attack your strength. It quietly turns your conscience against you. By the end of this video, you won't just spot manipulation. You'll reach a point where it can't touch you anymore. Before we go any further, if you value clarity, self-respect, and mental strength, make sure you're subscribed. This channel is about understanding human behavior so you're never controlled without realizing it. Now listen closely, because manipulation doesn't start where most people think it does. It never begins with pressure or demands. It begins softly, almost invisibly. It starts with a favor you didn't ask for. Someone shows up for you. They help you out. They listen when you're struggling. They do something kind when you're vulnerable. At first, it feels normal, comforting even. There are no conditions, no expectations, no rules, or at least none that are spoken. But a manipulator is never just being generous. They're observing, measuring. They're watching how you respond. Do you feel uncomfortable receiving help? Do you overexpress gratitude? Do you struggle to say no? Do you feel guilty easily? Every reaction is noted, quietly stored. Time passes, weeks, sometimes months. You forget about the favor. You move on, and then one day, they ask for something. Something small at first, then something that feels off, something that crosses a line. And before you even think about whether it's fair, a different thought hits you first. I owe them. That's the moment the invisible contract activates. They don't demand. They remind. After everything I've done for you, I was there when no one else was. Their voice stays calm, reasonable, but this isn't a request. It's a collection. And if you hesitate, the pressure shifts. Now you're not just saying no. Now you're ungrateful, cold, disloyal. Suddenly the focus isn't the favor they're asking for, it's your character. This is how manipulation reframes reality. Kindness becomes leverage, boundaries become betrayal, and the most dangerous part is that it feels internal. You police yourself before they ever have to. Here's the truth most people learn too late. Gratitude does not equal obligation. You can appreciate someone without surrendering your self-respect. Real generosity keeps no score. It doesn't come back later with a price tag. If there's a cost revealed after the fact, it was never a gift. It was an investment, and you never agreed to the terms. And once someone knows they can control you through guilt, they move to a deeper level. They stop targeting your actions and start targeting your identity. They listen carefully to what you believe in, what kind of person you try to be. They learn your values, not to respect them, but to use them. If you value forgiveness, they remind you that good people forgive. If loyalty matters to you, they say, I thought you were different. If you believe in second chances, they keep asking for one more, again and again and again. This isn't about morality. It's about control. They're not trying to convince you they're right. They're trying to make you feel wrong for protecting yourself. Every boundary becomes a flaw. Say no, and you're cold. Walk away, and you're unforgiving. Stand your ground, and suddenly you're selfish. Slowly, you stop listening to your instincts because staying true to yourself now comes with guilt. And that's the trap. You want to be kind. You want to be understanding. You want to be mature. So you silence the discomfort. You rationalize the behavior. You stay longer than you should, even when something inside you is screaming that this isn't right. Here's what they never want you to realize. Forgiveness does not mean access. You can forgive someone and still remove them from your life. Compassion does not mean tolerating repeated harm. Caring about people doesn't require sacrificing your peace. Values without boundaries don't make you noble. They make you easy to control. Real values protect you. They don't erase you. And the moment you stop letting others redefine what your values mean, manipulation starts losing its grip. You don't betray who you are by enforcing limits. You honor yourself by doing it. And once you understand that, everything changes. Manipulation doesn't only depend on what is said, it depends on when it's said. Timing is power, and manipulators understand this better than most people ever will. They don't bring up serious conversations when you're calm, rested, and thinking clearly. They wait. They observe your energy. And when you're tired, overwhelmed, distracted, or emotionally worn down, that's when they move in. Think about how it usually happens. You're already late, keys in your hand, mind racing, and suddenly, we need to talk right now. Or you finally sit down after a long, exhausting day, mentally drained, and within seconds a heavy emotional conversation starts. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. When you have the least ability to protect yourself, this is not coincidence. This is emotional timing control. Exhausted people agree faster. Tired people apologize more. Overwhelmed people say yes just to make the discomfort end. And later, when you're alone and thinking clearly again, you replay the moment and wonder why you agreed to something that didn't feel right, why you backed down, why you gave in. If you try to slow things down, they flip the narrative. You always avoid problems. You never want to talk. Your need for clarity becomes a flaw. Your request for time becomes proof of guilt. But real urgency doesn't need pressure. Real issues don't collapse if they wait a few hours. Power shifts the moment you take control of the clock. When someone forces an emotional discussion at the worst possible time, respond calmly and firmly. This matters, but I'm not ready to talk right now. Let's discuss it tomorrow at a specific time. No apology, no justification, just clarity. Watch carefully how they react. A healthy person respects your readiness. A manipulator pushes for immediacy, because waiting gives you time to think, and thinking is dangerous for control. You do not owe anyone instant access to your emotions. Most urgent conversations are manufactured. The goal isn't resolution, the goal is advantage. Once you stop engaging on their timeline, clarity returns, and clarity breaks manipulation. But when time pressure stops working, manipulators shift tactics. They don't argue harder, they confuse you. Weaponized confusion begins when you're certain about what happened, but the other person treats reality like it's unclear. You remember the words, the tone, the moment, but when you bring it up, they respond with, "That never happened," or "You're remembering it wrong." Suddenly the focus shifts. You're no longer addressing their behavior, you're defending your memory. This is not miscommunication, it's strategy. They don't need to prove they're right. They only need you to doubt yourself. Because the moment doubt enters your mind, confidence weakens, boundaries soften, control becomes easy. Often they mix truth with small distortions. You might get a detail wrong. The day, the exact wording, the time. They seize on that one tiny mistake and use it to invalidate everything. You said Tuesday, it was Wednesday, so clearly your memory isn't reliable. One small error becomes a weapon against your entire experience. Over time you start questioning yourself. Maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I misunderstood, and the moment you say maybe, they gain ground. Confused people explain themselves. Confused people apologize. Confused people stay silent just to stop the tension. Here's the truth that cuts through the fog. You are not confused. You are being confused. People who care about you don't make you feel crazy for having feelings. They listen, they reflect, they take responsibility. Manipulators deny, twist and redirect until you stop trusting your own mind. The defense is simple, but it requires strength. Stop debating facts. Don't argue about details. Anchor yourself in your experience. Say, that's how I experienced it and that's what I'm addressing. Your experience does not need their agreement to be real, and protect your clarity. Write things down for yourself. Save messages, not to prove anything to them, but to ground yourself in reality. Confusion survives in fog. Once the fog lifts, manipulation loses its power. Trust your memory, trust your instincts. Anyone who tries to take that away is revealing exactly who they are. And when confusion stops working, manipulators don't escalate with words. They escalate with silence. They withdraw emotionally, quietly, strategically. No shouting, no insults, just absence. Warmth disappears, attention fades, affection dries up. They're still physically present but emotionally unavailable, and that silence cuts deeper than anger ever could. This usually happens right after you set a boundary. You say no, you speak up, you protect yourself, and instead of discussing it, they pull away. Short replies, cold tone, distance. The message is clear even if it's never spoken. This is the cost of resistance. If you ask about it, they deny it. I'm fine. You're imagining things. Or they frame it as self-care. I just need space. But space from what? From your self-respect. That's not space. That's punishment. Humans are wired for connection. When someone important emotionally withdraws, your body reacts with anxiety. You start questioning yourself. Did I push too hard? Should I have stayed quiet? And slowly, you soften your boundary. Not because it was wrong, but because you want the warmth back. This is how people are trained. The defense is not confrontation, it's stillness. When they withdraw, let them. Don't chase. Don't explain. Don't apologize for having limits. Stay calm, stay consistent. Strategic absence only works if you react to it. When you don't, one of two things happens. Either they return because the tactic failed, or they stay distant and reveal they valued control more than connection. Both outcomes give you clarity, and clarity is always power. Once emotional withdrawal stops working, manipulators rely on something even more subtle: predictability. They don't control people through force, they control them through patterns. They study how you respond under pressure. They memorize your habits, your emotional triggers, your values. And once they can predict you, they can manage you. If you always explain yourself, they wait you out. If you hate conflict, they push harder. If you always forgive, they assume there will be no consequences. None of these qualities are weaknesses. Kindness is not weakness. Patience is not weakness. Consistency is not weakness. But when your behavior becomes predictable, it becomes exploitable. They learn what works on you. Guilt makes you fold, so they use guilt. Silence makes you anxious, so they withdraw. Urgency overwhelms you, so they rush you. Over time, manipulation stops being emotional and starts becoming calculated. They know when to apply pressure, when to stay calm, and when to act reasonable so you doubt yourself. This is why strong moral people are often targeted, not because they are weak, but because they are reliable. They respond in expected ways, and predictability makes control easier. When someone knows how you'll react before you even speak, they can shape the outcome in advance. Breaking this pattern does not mean becoming cold or cruel. It means becoming less readable. Pause before responding. Take time before answering. Change your usual rhythm. If you normally explain, say less. If you respond immediately, delay. If you always soften to keep peace, stay firm. Uncertainty disrupts control. When a manipulator can't predict you, they lose their advantage. They hesitate, they misjudge, and without predictability, their strategies fall apart. You're not changing who you are, you're protecting who you are. When you stop playing the role they memorized, you take your power back. At this stage, many people feel a strong urge to confront the manipulation directly, to explain what they've realized, to lay everything out, to finally make the other person understand. This instinct is natural, but it's also dangerous. Manipulators don't respond to accountability with reflection. They respond with chaos. The moment you confront them, they shift the focus. They question your tone instead of their actions. They attack your emotions instead of addressing the issue. They deny details. They reverse blame. Soon, the conversation isn't about what they did. It's about how dramatic, unfair, or unstable you are. That's why the smartest move is rarely exposure, it's exit. A clean exit doesn't mean disappearing without a word. It means disengaging without feeding the manipulation. Long explanations give manipulators material to twist later. Emotional speeches give them reactions to exploit. The more you explain, the more angles they gain. When you step back, keep your words neutral and minimal. I'm focusing on myself. This no longer works for me. These statements are honest, but they don't invite debate. You're not asking for permission. You're informing. They will push. They will ask questions. What did I do? Why are you acting like this? This is where most people break. They believe closure requires full honesty. It doesn't. You don't owe detailed explanations to someone who has already shown they will weaponize your truth. Exit without exposure means choosing peace over being understood. Let them believe whatever version of the story they need. Let them talk. The people who truly know you will see your consistency. Everyone else was never meant to understand. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. When you stop feeding manipulation with emotion and explanation, it starves. You leave with your dignity intact, your clarity restored, and your energy no longer trapped in endless loops of justification. That is real strength. But understanding these patterns is only half the battle. Awareness alone doesn't protect you. Knowledge without action changes nothing. You can recognize every tactic, spot every red flag, understand every psychological trick, and still remain vulnerable if you don't act. Insight becomes power only when it changes behavior. Action begins small. Refuse the guilt trip when it comes. Hold a boundary without explaining it. Delay a conversation until you're ready. Stop chasing warmth from someone who withdraws emotionally. Each choice reinforces a single truth. You control your mind, your time, and your space. Consistency matters. Manipulators test limits. They watch for cracks. One emotional reaction, one rushed apology, one moment of self-betrayal, and they remember. Patterns create leverage. But when your responses stay calm, firm, and consistent, manipulation collapses. Action also means protecting your reality. Write things down. Keep records for yourself, not to prove anything to them, but to anchor yourself in truth. When you trust your experience, you stop living in someone else's fog. And finally, action means choosing peace over proving a point. You don't need to argue, you don't need to expose, you don't need to teach lessons. You move in alignment with clarity. You step back when needed, you exit when necessary. You protect your energy and invest it where it grows. Every manipulator survives in confusion. Your doubt fuels them. Your reaction feeds them. Your hesitation empowers them. When you see clearly and act deliberately, their influence fades. And once that happens, they can no longer define your reality. When you finally understand how manipulation works, something shifts inside you. Not fear, not anger, awareness. And awareness changes everything. Because manipulators don't survive on strength. They survive on fog, confusion, emotional noise. The moment clarity enters the room, their power starts to collapse. At this point, the most important choice you can make is this. Stop trying to win. Stop trying to explain. Stop trying to be understood by someone who benefits from misunderstanding you. Manipulation feeds on engagement, on reaction, on emotional labor. When you remove those, the game ends. You don't need to announce boundaries loudly. You don't need dramatic speeches. Real power is quiet. It's in what you no longer react to. It's in what you no longer tolerate. It's in how calm you stay when someone tries to pull you back into confusion. You will notice something interesting when you stop playing along. People who were comfortable when you were unsure become uncomfortable when you are clear. People who thrived on your guilt struggle when you stop apologizing. People who controlled you through urgency panic when you take your time. This discomfort is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof that the dynamic has changed. Clarity is unsettling to anyone who relied on your self-doubt. At this stage, protect your mental space fiercely. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves explanations. Privacy is not secrecy. Silence is not weakness. Distance is not cruelty. These are tools of self-respect. You're allowed to outgrow dynamics that drain you. You're allowed to leave situations that confuse you. You're allowed to choose peace without permission. You don't owe anyone access to your emotions, your time, or your future. And here's the part most people never hear. You don't need closure from a manipulator. Closure comes from clarity, not conversation. It comes from seeing the pattern and refusing to repeat it. The moment you stop asking, why did they do this, and start asking, why did I stay, you regain control. That question isn't about blame, it's about power. From this point forward, your job isn't to fix anyone. It isn't to rescue, explain, or soften yourself to be accepted. Your job is to stay grounded in reality, to trust your instincts, to honor the signals your body and mind give you. When something feels off, pause. When pressure appears, slow down. When confusion enters, step back. These small choices compound. They build a version of you that manipulators can no longer reach. And understand this clearly. Manipulators don't lose power because you confront them. They lose power because you stop reacting, because you stop doubting yourself, because you stop participating in the dynamic that feeds them. That's real freedom. If this message gave you clarity, take a moment and support the channel by hitting the like button. It helps this content reach people who need it. If you want more insights into mental strength, self-protection, and mastering human behavior, subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next. I want you to do one more thing. Drop a comment below with one sentence that grounds you in reality. Something simple, but powerful. I stay unshaken. My reality is valid. My boundaries protect me. Writing it makes it real. And if someone in your life needs this clarity, someone who feels confused, drained, or stuck, share this video with them. Knowledge only protects when it's shared. Remember this: manipulators thrive in fog. You're not fog. You are awareness. You are calm. You're in control of your mind, your time, and your life. Stay steady, stay clear, and never hand your reality to someone who benefits from taking it away.